Hello book-loving world, it's Lex, and it's that time of year again. It's time for my mid-year book freakout tag. The original will be linked down below in the description in case you want to watch it. But without further ado, we got a good few things to talk about, so we're just gonna get on into it. It's Gotta Be Alice by Christina Henry. If you've been watching my videos, I've talked about it in like every video I've posted for the last month because I'm just so into it. I love it so much. This is going to be one of my favorite, like most loved, most reread books that I own. I can already tell just because it was like mind-bogglingly brilliant to me. This book is a horror fantasy retelling of Alice's adventures in Wonderland. We follow Alice, who when she was a young girl had gone to the old city. She's from the new city, and the old city is a very dangerous place. Her parents told her to never go there. For her birthday, her and her friend Dor traveled there, and she got kidnapped and some other bad things happened. She fought her way out, and when she showed up back in New City, all she kept saying was the White Rabbit, so she got institutionalized. This story takes place at the end of that, when she and Hatcher, the Mad Hatter, the man in the room next to her, escape and have to figure out magic and find their way through the old city, which is a very dangerous, dangerous place. That's all I'm going to say about that. I have filmed a review. As soon as it's out, I will link it down below. 5 stars on Goodreads, so good. Christina Henry is a genius and I love it. Best sequel I've read this year? Surprise, surprise, it's Red Queen, the sequel to Alice, also by Christina Henry. This one takes place after that one. I don't want to tell you about it. I have also read this one. I don't want to talk about it too much because, you know, to talk about sequels, a lot of times you have to give away major things from the first book. This one is lighter, it's less horror, and it's beautiful. It's so well written, it's so well thought out, and I can just really tell that Christina put in so much work with this world and these characters, and this book is also just beautiful and brilliant and amazing, and you should read the duology, it's really good. Guys, please don't hate me for this. This next one is new release that you haven't read yet but you really, really want to. This is The Mermaid by Christina Henry. It's about P.T. Barnum's mermaid hoax. It's historical fantasy. So in this one, there actually is a mermaid. There's real mermaid. This came out last Tuesday. I am filming this on June 25th, so I think it came out June 18th. I got this as a pre-release when I was at Comic-Con when I met her. It's signed. I have been meaning to get around to it so I can film a review. I'm really excited about it. I've been wanting to get into more historical fantasy. My most anticipated release of the second half of the year is Imposters by Scott Westerfeld, because as I have said on my channel before, the Ugly series by Scott Westerfeld is one of my favorite series ever and one of my favorite dystopian stories ever. There's, you know, like a section of books in my brain that I credit for making me fall in love with reading like I have, and that series is one of them. And he's releasing 4 more new books. Oh my goodness, 4 more new books in the Uglies universe, not with Tally and Shay. Imposters takes place in the future, post Tally and Shay's revolution. Actually September 6th, so even sooner. That's just like 2 months away. Wow. That's so exciting. I can't wait to read it. My biggest disappointment, I didn't like really have an answer for this one because I haven't actively disliked any of the books that I've read this year. The Astonishing Adventures of Fanboy and Goth Girl by Barry Lyga. This book is fun and I like it. I haven't finished it. This is gonna sound bad because I'm not DNFing it, okay? I'm not like putting it down and being like, that's that, I'm done. But I might politely decide to, for right now, not read it because there are so many other books that are like that I've recently acquired that I am 50 times more excited about reading than this one. So because of that, I think I might just set this on my shelf and come back to it. Biggest surprise. Okay, so I am currently in the midst of an entire Harry Potter series reread. I've been talking about that too. I'm doing a book talk for all 7 of them. I low-key regret that choice, but my biggest surprise that I've read this year is Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone. When I think back, prior to my reread, when I think back on this series, this one is my second least favorite book. I really, really liked it. Like, I liked it more than I used to. And maybe it's just because I haven't read it in so long. I probably haven't before I read it in May, I probably hadn't read this since I was like 14 or 13, so it had been a while, and I definitely enjoyed it a lot more than I did then, which is why it was my biggest surprise. And I'm really, really glad that I liked it, because this series, you know, it's my childhood, it's my love. It's also in that section of books that made reading my favorite thing ever. Wow, I bet this one also won't be a surprise. My favorite new author is Christina Henry, and I'm going to hold up my other Christina Henry book. So I ordered Alice because I had been vaguely interested in reading it, and she was going to be at Denver Comic Con. So I bought it and I read it so I could like have something to say at Comic Con when I met her, because she was having a book signing. So I went and I asked her a couple questions. She was an absolute joy. She's such a delight. She's such a wonderful woman, and I have so much respect for her. Her writing is gorgeous. She's very personable. She's kind of soft-spoken, but she just like is really interesting, and I like her a lot as a person and also as an author. So I had read Alice. She signed it for me. I told her how excited I was to pick up Lost Boy, because Peter Pan is actually one of my favorite things in the world, and she told me that they were selling them at that they were selling all of her other books at Comic-Con. I picked up all 4 of her like horror and or historical fantasy, like based on like retelling kind of things. So this, Red Queen, and Lost Boy I picked up, and I brought them back, and she signed all them, and we talked a little bit more. I went to all of her panels. She is so cool. My newest fictional crush, I don't really think I super have one. I'm gonna go ahead and say Cheshire from Alice. I don't really have a crush on him. I just really, really love his character, and I wish I had gotten to see a lot more of him. I think that if I had gotten to see a lot more of him, I maybe would have been a little more crushing on him. He's a weirdo, and I love it. He collects stories. That's his whole thing, is he collects stories, and he's a magician, and he's like, you know, kind of weird and quirky and scary, but also fun. My newest favorite characters of the year, I'm going to say Alice and Cheshire. Alice, because I think over the duology, her character arc is super awesome. She starts out very unsure of herself and afraid, and she doesn't really have a memory. She can remember before her adventure, but she can't remember anything after that. And then she's been in this institution for like 10 years. This duology has a lot to do with like in the aftermath of like personal tragedy. How do you come to terms with all of your feelings, and also how do you find a way to relate and love yourself again and believe in yourself? Like, how do you build confidence after tragedy? Alice is an assault survivor, so I think that itself also, you know, like the way that you can, like, to me a lot of this journey felt kind of metaphor-y for an assault victim regaining control of her own life. Like I said, Cheshire I just thought was really fun. I just really was intrigued by his character. I haven't cried, so the next question is a book that made you cry. I have yet, that's a very important keyword, I have yet to cry in a book this year, which is impressive. There are a few that it'll happen. It'll happen, but it hasn't happened yet. A book that made me happy, Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban, which is my second favorite book in the Harry Potter series. I haven't gotten my favorite book yet, but just, it's been a while since I've reread this one, and I forgot how much I love it. I love this book, guys. I love Remus, and I love Sirius, and I just love the story, and it's so good. It made me happy. My favorite book to film adaptation that I have seen this year is Love, Simon. I loved it. I loved it. It was so good. If you haven't seen it, please go see it. Books with LGBTQ+ characters are very important to me because I, as an individual, am LGBTQ+. I never know. I usually just say LGBT+. or LGBTQ+, but sometimes I just start adding letters because I myself am I'm gonna go on a tangent. I myself am pansexual. And it's not included, so I just like shove it in sometimes. That's what happened there. But also, yeah, so the book, cute, love it. The movie, cute, love it. But just like having more mainstream exposure for LGBT characters is very important, and I thought they had a pretty diverse cast. I really liked the cast. I thought that they wrote a very good script, and I just really enjoy it overall. My favorite video that I've made this year is probably my Unpopular Opinions book tag, because it's one of my favorites to watch, and I had been wanting to do it, and I just finally got around to doing it. I'll have it linked down below if you would like to go and watch it, because I really enjoyed filming it. What's the most beautiful book I've bought this year? You know, I think I'm gonna have to go with Ever the Hunted, which you can't, it's hard to see. I'll try and insert a picture here. Because, like, gosh, it's so gorgeous. And even, like, the spine. What books do I need to read by the end of the year? God, guys, there are just so many. So I want to read Ever the Hunted because I haven't read that one yet. I want to read pretty much every book in this stack back here because those are all the books from my haul. The ones that are over in that corner that you can't see because they're hidden by my mirror. Those ones I mostly have read, but those ones are all books that I want to read by the end of the year. I'm just gonna pull one out to like give you a name. I really want to read The Waking Land by Callie Bates because I just received it. This cover is also gorgeous. I would also consider this one of the like prettiest books I've bought this year. It's beautiful. But this one is a fantasy adventure kind of thing, and I'm really, really excited to read this. Alright guys, so that is my mid-year book freakout tag. Let me know down below if there's anything, you know, you want to say. If you agree, if you have read any of my faves, if you disagree about Fanboy and Goth Girl, like, just let me know. Let me know how you're feeling down below. Also, please leave a like, subscribe, and stick around because I come out with new content twice a week, usually. So,